Okay, so just to say that again for the recording, we were doing user testing feedback last night, a review of it, and we noticed a few things that we saw in writing but couldn't really find on the GitLab site. Specifically with test cases on the left side panel, it was like the fifth option underneath CI/CD, and now it's not showing up.
My guess is, and so this is why I was asking for you to share their screen, is I wasn't sure if you were looking at a project or a group. If you're in a project, it exists under CI/CD, but if you're in a group, it does not.
I see. Okay.
That might be why.
That probably is what's happened
Yeah,
then.
I think so. Yeah, and for the replace function, it was similar that we like just couldn't figure out where it was, but I'm sure it's the file replace function, but do you mind showing us like where that is in
Yeah.
the editor?
Do you mind? Can you give me access to share the screen?
Yes.
Please.
Okay. Should be able to now.
Okay, got it. Thank you. I'm thinking this is what it is. If you go into, like, if you're in a project and then you go into the repository, you can see all of the files that are in that project. And then if you go into a specific file, I don't know if I need to be no, you don't. I think it's this, the reference button. And then you can upload, and it's almost the same thing as if you're like locally, a lot of people will use Visual Studio Code, and this is similar in the way that it will, if you add or if you replace that file here, it will send the commit that you made up to an MR, and this will do the same thing. So you can create it on a different branch, and then it will create an MR to replace the file.
And MR stands for
merge request. I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah, so it'd bring you here. Let me show you an example just using, I have a personal project I can do.
Okay, great.
I don't know why that's going so slow. So I'm gonna, oh, there we go. Okay. So if I wanted to, I don't want to replace this one. Let me just make it. Okay. Like if I wanted to replace this, I'm just gonna upload a random file. I guess a PNG would work. Okay, so if I upload it through target branch main, which is like the master branch, so anything that you make changes to there will just, it will go in directly because it's like the main branch that is showing in production. So because I just made that change to with the main branch, it automatically showed up here. Now I have to download it, which is annoying. For whatever reason, it doesn't preview. But if I were to open this in like the web IDE, which is similar to the Visual Studio Code, it's just on the web, I can replace it here as well. I don't know. Okay. Apparently that's the text of the image. Well, okay, so then whatever changes I'm using here, if I were to commit these, I can commit them to a new branch, and then whatever, that's my change. And then this will create an MR, which is the merge request thing that I was saying. And so now when whatever, that's the description. When I create the merge request, you'll see I'm like asking the maintainer to, it's building still, but I'm asking the maintainer of this project to let me update that existing file to something new with a merge request. Does that help make a little bit more sense there?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I feel like we had a few comments about kind of going through that process on someone's files locally. And I think we did determine that that was like outside of the scope that we were focusing on, but that helps to like put that in that category.
Yeah, I would definitely say it's outside of scope. That seems more like creating code rather than the pipeline stuff.
Gotcha. That definitely helps though.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, so those were the two questions for that little area. And then our professor wanted us to like just start conversations about usability testing for like the prototypes we're gonna make. We have not made any yet, which is something I also wanted to mention, like just our progress is we were working on some like initial ideation last night and kind of going through like our design requirements and really like focusing in on what we want to get done in the next few weeks. But we just wanted to make sure that we're on the same page for the timeline of making sure we have dates and times that work for scheduling participants and recruiting, and like when like that would all need to be done, I guess.
Yeah. So I would say it would be great if you could give us your availability for that, because really all we would have to do is set up a recruiting issue, or Ben will do this with you again, I'm assuming. He'll recruit participants, which I would say if you were to prepare for how long that would take, I'd say maybe like 1 week at the most. And then I'm guessing the sessions, again, that depends on your availability, but if you run them, if you have like an entire week where you're free, for example, you could run them all in 1 week. So it really just depends on your availability at that point.
Okay. That sounds good. We'll try to keep you updated on like what we have and when we would actually get to that point. And I think I will like create I think a Calendly you I think said in the past was the best to do that. So maybe since it's I think a lot more times potentially and like more people, that might be easier to try to figure out. So we'll
Yeah.
discuss that separately and come back to you. Yeah, so and then for the next week on Saturday we have like our initial prototype due. It's like a document that we can share with you once we get it started. We're gonna have to like meet again this week. And then on Tuesday we're gonna be doing like a little design review test with like participants from our class.
Oh, okay. Nice. Yeah, whenever you have deliverables for that, like if you want feedback, you can just send them over to me and I'll take a look. Or if you want to meet, whatever, I'm here.
Perfect. Thank you. And Emmeline, do you wanted to discuss the document we were working on a little bit?
Oh, yeah, just about the deliverable, I wanted to update you on the progress that we have so far. I think Melinda, you covered a lot of it, but for designs right now, they're not really in a presentable stage. We kind of took it our own way and then we sketched out like what we would want to do. But before that, the main thing that we did was we summarized what we found from usability tests and then revisited the pain points that we had recorded before, given the discovery research. And some of them weren't issues that we thought were going to be big issues, but might have been just significant for us, or something that other competitors did, but GitLab didn't. But then usability testing showed that, oh, it wasn't a problem whatsoever. And then we added a few more points based on the usability testing and then made a prioritized list of pain points that we wanted to address. One thing though that we found out is that redoing the entire UI, I think we knew this before, but having what we needed to do in front of us really let us know that redoing everything would have been really tough. So we're going to focus on individual pain points and addressing it. And the first thing that we're trying to tackle is finding the YAML template in a more effective way, because that was a hang up for some folks, even though they had experience. I'm trying to think of what the other ones were. The other one was, let's see, we had, I think, 2 more big ones that we wanted to address. Melinda or Alex, you might have it at the top of your head in ways that I don't.
The 3 were improving the system for importing and selecting a template file was really big, like the browse templates area. The redundancy of like the jobs and pipelines tab we wanted to work on. And those were the big top 2. And then finally, there was a lot of like interest in the visualize tab. People really liked that and they wanted to see it more in a functional way, or maybe just like more centralized. For especially for users that were new, they thought that it was like a really good way to understand how CI/CD worked.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. And I think the fact that you listed all the pain points out and then prioritize them is big, because like you said, it takes a while to redesign, especially for GitLab, because there's so much stuff on the screen. I would still, I mean, depending on what you want to do for your presentation, but I think all of the pain points that you found are still relevant to us if you still want to give us like the full list. And just so we understand, like, learn what you learned. And then even if you don't have time to like design them all, that's fine. What was the other thing? One thing that I just want to give you a heads up on when you're designing the whole, I think it's the left nav. So everything that's on like I'm going to share my screen to make sure I'm super clear here. This whole navigation over here, where our foundations team, which is the team that like works on the navigation, they're redesigning that right now. So I would stay away from making any updates in that area, because there's like so much change going on and we kind of want to limit the things that happen. If you have changes, like you want to remove something from there, that would be cool to hear. But yeah, I would not try to add anything into that navigation. Gotcha. Otherwise, do whatever.
Yeah, I think just the only thing was under the CI/CD, maybe removing the jobs, because people thought it was like confusing that they thought you should go through pipelines to get to the jobs, since it is kind of like a category within.
Yeah.
That like seeing all of the jobs at once wasn't like helpful to certain users. So like we'll definitely keep that in mind when
okay,
in that aspect.
Yeah, sounds good.
Oh, and I was gonna say something else to what you just said, but I forgot. Sorry.
I think maybe we're thinking of the same thing, but not really.
Sure.
But we did separate to like the pain points that we are going to be able to address, hopefully, with our solution. And then we made a separate list at the bottom of things that users mentioned, but we won't be able to do. So we do still have them in the document, but we push them aside to be like, okay, GitLab, do what you will with these. We won't be able to tackle it.
No, that's great. And let me also send you something that we do at GitLab, which is very specific to our company. If we find a pain point, we rate it like a severity number. And there's these different definitions that you could use. You don't have to do this again, but it would, again, not sure if all companies do this, but you would be able to like kind of learn about how bugs are rated, at least for development. So we do this for UX, and I'll just send you the link, and I'll also share my screen right now. Okay. So in this, I sent you the link to this table, but when you look at this, you could just look at the user experience problem here. And so for each one, like there's severity 1, 2, 3, and 4, and each one gives a reason of like why it would be rated that. So 1 would be that they can't figure it out, the user's fully blocked and they can't move on through the task. So maybe if these definitions like fit those different pain points, you're welcome to throw them in there. It would be definitely more relevant for us rather than like your professor, but yeah, it's up to you.
Yeah, that would be really awesome. Can you send that link in the chat and I'll save it in
Yes.
our files or in the agenda. Yeah, that's
I
perfect.
put it in the agenda too, but yeah.
Perfect. Oh, gotcha. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, we definitely have a lot to do, and we're graduating pretty soon, which is exciting. But we like are really excited about getting the rest of this done and really moving on after spring break. Obviously, it's like we just had a big break and now we're getting back into it. So we're trying to stay focused and do a lot of meeting this week to really get into it.
Nice. Yeah. So send me like whenever you want feedback, feel free to just send it to me through email or Slack and I can take a look and help. One other thing that I had from our side is I shared a little bit about what you've all been doing in this project with the UX department last week. And a lot of people are really interested in it and they want to hear like your final presentation and everything. So I checked with your professors and they said, as long as you all would be comfortable with attending a meeting with us, you're welcome to. I was wondering if you'd be interested in that.
Yeah, I think that's an amazing opportunity. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna just propose like some random dates. Would it be better for this to be after you present to your class rather than before?
Our final presentation is on May 7th.
Mhm.
Maybe I think around that time would work. Does anyone have a preference?
I think around that time works for me too. I think that I like the idea of having it after, so we have a practice run in class, but I
Yeah.
will be out of town pretty shortly after that. I think I leave on the 10th.
Okay.
So like the 8th and 9th work for me, but I don't know about the rest of the team.
I know you have finals that whole week too, right? Pretty much.
Yeah, this is like my only final really, other than like art classes. So I'm like pretty good. But we can like make a note to ask the other two girls because obviously they're not here
Mhm.
right now. And I was assuming I wanted to ask also, I don't know how long our presentation is for class, but I'm sure like we would have to shorten it for the team call. So if you could let us know like how much time, we can even do like a shortened version of it, just to like
Okay.
right to the point. Because like obviously we don't want to take up so much of your time, and we can like provide all of the like the full slide deck and whatever
Right.
also, so people can look into it more if they want to after.
Okay, yeah, I'll get that information and then I'll look for like times that would match around 8th, 9th time range, maybe 7th too. And we can just go from there. I'll post in Slack.
Okay.
Sweet. Yay. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah,
We
that's
are really
awesome.
excited.
I'm excited too. That's awesome that they're interested in this.
Yeah. CICD is like it's a big topic here. So we're pumped that we get some help in that area because we just haven't had time to like look at it in the way that you are doing it.
Yeah, we're so happy to help.
Sweet.
Okay, so I don't think there's anything else that we wanted to speak about right now. We do have a lot of work to get done behind the scenes, so we'll definitely be updating you. And I hope you have a nice vacation also, because I know
Oh,
you're
thanks.
going away. And then we'll speak next Friday. I'm sure we might send you a few like deliverables or updates before then, but
Sounds great. All right. Thank you.
wonderful. Thank you. Have a
Have a
nice
good week.
one.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye.
Thank you.